The fish tank mistake. A fish tank sits neatly on a table. The fish swim happily. Dad sprinkles fish food carefully, nodding with satisfaction. Dad feeds the fish. Fish swim up excitedly. The kids press their faces to the glass, pointing. One day, Dad is busy. Mom picks up a white container that looks like fish food. Mom pours it into the tank. The water turns cloudy. Mom looks at the container again. Salt. Mom's eyes widen. The whole family springs into action. Dad gently moves the fish into a temporary bowl. Mom drains the tank. The kids carry buckets of water very seriously. Music speeds up slightly. Fresh water is poured in. The filter turns on. The fish are carefully returned to the tank. Everyone leans in, holding their breath. The fish start swimming again, happy and lively. The kids jump with joy. Dad exhales in relief. Mom smiles awkwardly and pats her chest. 5 minutes at the beach, sunny beach. The family arrives with arms full of gear. Tent, mat, beach bag. The kid bounces with excitement. Dad carefully sets up the beach tent. Mom spreads out the mat and arranges items neatly. The kid stares at the ocean, eyes sparkling. The moment Mom and Dad turn away, the kid runs straight into the water. A strong gust of wind blows. The tent flips and flies. The mat slides across the sand. Dad chases the flying tent. Mom grabs the mat. They exchange panicked looks. Cut back to the kid, still playing joyfully in the waves, waving happily at Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad look toward the water, worried but amused. The kid runs up from the water and hugs them. The giant balloon. The family gathers around a huge balloon. Dad holds a hand pump. Mom holds the balloon's neck. The kids watch excitedly.
Whoa.
The balloon grows bigger, bigger. The kids' eyes widen.
Yippee!
Dad and Mom exchange a slightly worried look, but keep going. The younger child hugs the balloon tightly. The balloon lifts the child off the ground. Feet dangle in the air. The child laughs and squeals. Dad and Mom gasp. Dad jumps, trying to grab the child. Mom pulls gently on the balloon string. Too weak. The older kid runs to grab a pin/sharp stick. Everyone gestures quickly to each other. Dad and Mom pull an air mattress/inflatable mat underneath. The older kid pops the balloon. Hiss! The balloon slowly deflates. The younger child floats down gently onto the air mattress. Bounces once, then sits up smiling. Everyone exhales in relief. The simple fishing rod. Quiet. Lakeside/riverside. Dad arrives with a fancy fishing rod, tackle box, and folding chair. Son stands beside him, empty-handed, watching curiously. Dad casts the line confidently. The float sits on the water, perfectly still. Dad waits, checks his watch, sighs softly. The son looks around, finds a tree branch, ties a simple string to it, adds a tiny hook, drops it into the water, just for fun. Dad doesn't notice. The string suddenly tugs hard. The son's eyes widen. He pulls up the branch. A fish! The son freezes for a moment, then grins proudly. Dad turns around, looks at the fish, looks at his expensive fishing rod, looks at the stick. Dad bursts out laughing, shaking his head in disbelief. Dad pats the son's head proudly. They sit side by side, watching the water together. The fish swims calmly in a small bucket. Building a small wooden house. A cool, gentle morning. Dad carries the wood out and places it on the ground. Mom lays out the measuring tape, carefully measuring each piece. Sister uses a pencil to mark the lines. Little brother hugs a handful of nails, running back and forth excitedly. Dad joins 2 wooden boards to make the frame. The little house tilts slightly. The family stands back to look. Mom points and gently shakes her head. They take it apart and adjust it. Dad hammers in the nails. Thud, thud. Sister holds the board straight. Little brother hands over the hammer. The wrong way. The small wooden house stands firmly. The roof provides just enough cover with a cute low door. The whole family fits perfectly inside the tiny house. They look at one another and smile warmly, making a small shelter for a cat. A gentle afternoon. A lost cat curls up under the porch roof. Dad bends down, using his hand to shield the cat from the rain. Mom looks at the sky, looks at the cat, nods with an idea. Dad brings out a large cardboard box. Mom lays a soft old cloth inside. Sister holds the box. Little brother passes the string and tape. Dad adds an extra cardboard layer at the bottom. Mom places the shelter close to the wall, away from the wind. Sister sets a small bowl of water in front. Little brother tiptoes over, gently placing a small towel inside. The whole family steps back, squatting down to watch. The cat walks closer, sniffs the entrance, pokes its head in, then crawls all the way inside. The cat curls up, lying still. The family looks at one another and smiles. No shovel, no problem. A park or open grassy area. The family arrives carrying a small sapling and a water bottle. Mom points to the ground, ready to plant. Dad opens the backpack and searches inside. No shovel. Dad scratches his head and sighs. Mom looks around, a bit puzzled. Dad tries digging with his hands, winces and shakes them. Mom pours water on the soil. It only softens slightly. Bluey and Bingo watch, thinking. Bluey spots a strong tree branch on the ground. She picks it up and pokes the soil. The dirt loosens a little. Bingo's eyes widen. She nods eagerly. The family gently places the sapling into the hole. They fill it with soil. Mom waters it. The tree stands upright. The family steps back to admire the tree. Dad gives the kids a big thumbs up. Bluey and Bingo smile proudly. A light breeze rustles the leaves. Trick backfires. Mom is cleaning the floor, fully focused. Bluey and Bingo peek from behind the couch, exchanging mischievous grins. Bluey draws a simple trap plan on a piece of paper. Bingo nods excitedly and gives a silent thumbs up. They shake hands in agreement. Fast, funny montage. A string is tied to a chair. A pillow is placed up high. A small paper X is stuck on a slippery spot. The girls step back, admiring their work. Mom walks closer. The girls hold their breath, covering their mouths. Mom pauses, looks around suspiciously. Mom pretends not to notice and calmly walks around the trap. Suddenly, she gently pulls the string. The pillow drops, right onto Bluey and Bingo. The girls tumble to the floor, surprised but unharmed. Mom stands with hands on her hips, smiling victoriously. Bluey and Bingo look at each other, embarrassed, then hide their faces. Mom pulls both girls into a warm hug. They all laugh together. Dad peeks in, accidentally steps on the leftover trap and slips slightly. Everyone bursts into laughter. Counting the stairs. Bluey and Bingo stand ready for a simple challenge, climbing the staircase. Bluey starts her climb, and Bandit begins to clap rhythmically, each clap matching a step. Bingo is slightly confused at first, but she quickly finds the rhythm, trying to sync her tiny steps with the claps. The two girls are halfway up. Bandit claps louder and clearer, helping them maintain the count. Bluey glances back to check her dad's rhythm. Bingo misses a step and pauses. She concentrates hard, then steps forward, determined to catch the rhythm of her dad's counting. Finally, Bluey steps onto the last stair, and Bingo follows closely behind. The secret breakfast. Mom is asleep in her bedroom. Dad, sister, and little brother stand outside the kitchen, exchanging a silent shh gesture. Dad fills the kettle with water and turns on the stove. Steam rises. Dad quickly lowers the heat, nervously glancing around. Sister places bread into the toaster. Little brother carries a tray of eggs to the table. One egg rolls. Crack! It falls. He hurriedly picks it up, wipes it clean, and quietly puts it back. The family sets the table together. Plates slightly crooked, tablecloth wrinkled. Toast a little burnt, water poured too full. Dad steps back, looking at everything. He nods proudly. The bedroom door opens. Mom steps out, still sleepy. She freezes. Her eyes move from the messy breakfast to her family standing behind it. Mom covers her mouth, eyes filling with tears. A warm, grateful smile appears. The family sits together at the table.
Musical statues. Dad Bandit is about to start the music. Bluey and Bingo are ready for a high-stakes game of musical statues. The music starts. The sisters dance wildly, soaking up every bit of the upbeat rhythm. Music stops! Bluey freezes instantly on one leg, trying her best not to let her tail wag. Bingo wobbles a little, but manages to stay still. Dad walks around to check if any statue moves. The music kicks in again, faster and funnier. The whole family dances, the room filled with silent laughter. Bluey goes on a treasure hunt.
The secret seed. Mom, Bluey, and Bingo stroll together. The kids run ahead while Mom walks behind, smiling. Bingo suddenly stops and looks down. She picks up a tiny seed from the ground. Bluey leans in, curious. Mom gestures for them to keep walking. Bingo looks at the seed, then quietly closes her paw around it. Back at home. Mom turns away to get some water. Bingo looks left, right, sneaks to a flower pot, garden corner, digs a small hole, hides the seed, quickly covers it with soil. Bluey stands nearby, acting like a serious lookout. One day, Mom tidies the garden. Bingo rushes over. Too late. Mom bends down and sees a small flower blooming. Her eyes widen in surprise. Bingo stands behind her, smiling shyly. Mom turns around and gently pats Bingo's head. Bluey claps happily. The three sit together, watching the flowers sway in the breeze. Secret gift box! Building a small fence. A cool morning. The whole family stands in front of an empty patch of yard. Dad pulls out a measuring tape to check the spacing. Mom marks the spots with white chalk. Sister and little brother line up the short wooden posts. Dad grabs a hammer and drives in the first post. Thud, thud. Firm and steady. Mom holds the post, checking the balance by eye. She nods to signal it's good. Sister passes over a wooden plank. Little brother runs back and forth, handing over nails. Thud! The post tilts slightly. Mom raises her hand to stop. The family steps back to look. Dad pulls the post out and adjusts it. Sister holds one end. Mom steadies it. Dad hammers again. Their rhythm becomes steady. The fence grows section by section. The fence is complete. Little brother taps a post lightly. Tap, tap. Mom, Dad, and Sister smile with pride. Bingo has a stomachache. Minutes at the beach, sunny beach. The family arrives with arms full of gear. Tent, mat, beach bag. The kid bounces with excitement. Dad carefully sets up the beach tent. Mom spreads out the mat and arranges items neatly. The kid stares at the ocean, eyes sparkling. The moment Mom and Dad turn away, the kid runs straight into the water. A strong gust of wind blows. The tent flips and flies. The mat slides across the sand. Dad chases the flying tent. Mom grabs the mat. They exchange panicked looks. Cut back to the kid, still playing joyfully in the waves, waving happily at Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad look toward the water, worried but amused. The kid runs up from the water and hugs them. Night camping. Late afternoon, still bright daylight. The family loads camping gear into the car. Tent, bags, flashlight. The kids bounce excitedly. Dad gives a confident thumbs up.
Let's go!
Mom smiles. Dad and Mom set up the tent. The kids help hold poles and pegs. The tent is finally finished. The sky turns dark. The forest becomes quiet. Leaves rustle in the wind. The kids press close to Mom and Dad. Dad swallows nervously. Mom looks around, uneasy. A small noise from the bushes. Everyone freezes. Dad switches on the flashlight. Its beam shakes. Just a bug. No danger. But nobody relaxes. The family looks at each other. Mom gently shakes her head. Dad nods very quickly. The kids immediately run back toward the car. The tent stands alone behind them. Trick backfires. Mom is cleaning the floor, fully focused. Bluey and Bingo peek from behind the couch, exchanging mischievous grins. Bluey draws a simple trap plan on a piece of paper. Bingo nods excitedly and gives a silent thumbs up. They shake hands in agreement. Fast, funny montage. A string is tied to a chair. A pillow is placed up high. A small paper X is stuck on a slippery spot. The girls step back, admiring their work. Mom walks closer. The girls hold their breath, covering their mouths. Mom pauses, looks around suspiciously. Mom pretends not to notice and calmly walks around the trap. Suddenly, she gently pulls the string. The pillow drops right onto Bluey and Bingo. The girls tumble to the floor, surprised but unharmed. Mom stands with hands on her hips, smiling victoriously. Bluey and Bingo look at each other, embarrassed, then hide their faces. Mom pulls both girls into a warm hug. They all laugh together. Dad peeks in, accidentally steps on the leftover trap and slips slightly. Everyone bursts into laughter, covering the roof to avoid the rain afternoon. Mom looks up at the sky, raises her hand to feel the wind. A raindrop lands on her hand. Mom turns toward the yard, signaling urgently. Dad runs to the shed, pulling out a large tarp. The wind grows stronger. Leaves rustle loudly. Dad spreads the tarp over the items in the yard. Flap! A strong gust lifts the tarp up. Dad holds one corner of the tarp. Mom grips the other corner. Sister jumps onto a chair, pulling the tarp edge down. Little brother presses hard on the lowest corner. The tarp billows like a sail. Everyone sways, but keeps holding on. Rain starts pouring down. Water slides off the tarp, streaming down in lines. Items are dry. Plant pots are safe. Chairs are fully covered. Everyone sighs in relief.